Dontae Wright, Morehead State's new defensive coordinator for the football team, joins us here on MSUEagles.com. And Coach, first off, congrats on getting your promotion. And I know you've been with this program for a few years now, but in kind of a new role, still on the defensive side of the ball. But just go back and tell us your excitement level and how you feel about leading the defensive unit now.
Thanks, Matt. I am extremely excited about it. Obviously, I've been here the last 2 seasons as a defensive line coach, and I had my group that I got to have my hands on and truly be with them every single day. So the excitement to move into this role and get to work with the entire defense, all 35, 40 that we have right now, be able to work with the linebackers, the DBs, and have an input on those things, and have an input with the coaches. That it's not just one voice; it's all of us combined, and we've come up with some great schemes and things we think we can put our players in the best position possible to be successful. So it's extremely exciting. It really is. The players have done a tremendous job in terms of accepting me in this role and being excited about it. I think they're extremely excited for a little bit of change. Something new is always good, and they've really embraced it, and they're trying to do everything that we ask them and so forth. But the excitement level for me in this role is extremely exciting. It's something I've worked hard for, and I've wanted. It's been a goal for me from the start when I've done this, and I'm blessed that Coach Tenure had enough faith in me and confidence in me to take over this role.
Admittedly, the defense has struggled a little bit in the past few years, but what are some changes right off the bat that you are going to make as yourself and your defensive staff that should help the program become better and the players become better?
There's no getting around it. We have not been anywhere close to where we want to be. We have been, as I tell these guys, us as a group, coaches and players have been the weak link of this team. And that's what I wouldn't say focus on, but we have that in the back of our mind so that we don't ever feel like what we're doing is good enough. We're always hungry for more. And I think that's something that we've lacked is we have a good day and we feel like we've got there, and then that next day it's a bad day. No, we want to keep fighting and scratching and getting to that next point. And what we got to establish over here is, first and foremost, before we ever get to football, we have to clean our lives up. And that's what as a coach, I think that's one of our most important jobs we got to win football games and X's and O's, and that's great. But our job is to help these young men become men. Their parents entrusted us to take them, and when they leave here after 4 or 5 years, to be men when they leave here and ready for the world, not ready for football or the NFL or whatever your dreams may be, but ready for the world, ready to get in the working world. So that's what we focused on to start with. When we started in this January, is cleaning up our lives, doing things the right way, being where you're supposed to be, wearing the right things, being appropriate, yes sirs, no sirs, yes ma'am, no ma'am, treating people with respect. If you want respect, you have to give respect, you have to earn respect. And those little things, and just doing and taking care of the little things and taking care of everyday life, because as these guys have heard it millions of times now already in the short amount of time we've been here, you can't go up here on campus and mess around and be a D, F student, a C student, and mess around and get in trouble off the field and then expect to come down here on the field and turn it on and be an All-American. It doesn't work that way. If you want to be great down here, you have to try to live all of your aspects the correct way and in a great way. And that's what we focused on. And then once we've got to spring ball now, that's easy. That's the fun part. That's what they want to do. We're going to change up some schemes and give some different things. We haven't got to that point yet. Actually, today will be the first day that we actually get to some newer stuff. We had some stuff that we wanted to carry over from that I believe in, your cover 4 stuff and things like that I believe in as a defense that we've done to this point, these first 3 practices that we've just cleaned up and gotten better at and perfected, because that will be the nuts and bolts of our defense, is that cover 4, the pressure stuff. We'll still have that, but we got to clean that part up, and have done a great job with that so that we can get into the newer stuff and, some more schematic things where we can change things up and give the offenses different looks. Now we'll get into that part, but the young men have really truly bought in and are doing everything we ask. Are we perfect yet? Are we great yet? Are we arrived? No, by no means. But I can promise you this much, that this group of defensive players is trying every single day, both in the meeting room, both off the campus, and then out on the practice field, to give us what we want as coaches, and that's exciting. You can work with that. We don't have anybody that's bucking and saying, no, I want to do my own thing. I can firmly say that. We don't have any of those guys because our leadership have cut those guys out. They've told them, hey, that's not the way it's going to be, and we're blessed to have that. We got 9 seniors on defense. We had 9 seniors, I think, last year total. We got 9 seniors on defense this year alone, so it's great to have that leadership and that voice on the field where I don't have to scream all the time. Coach Moore, Coach Perrin, Coach McDermott, Coach Mueller, we don't have to scream all the time. They take care of it and they're starting to police themselves, so now we're on to something, I think.
Dontae Wright is our guest here, defensive coordinator at Morehead State, and I guess the spring is a time, and you talk about competitiveness, and you said you got 9 seniors, but I know there's some guys that are underclassmen too that are probably hungry to get a chance. And what have you seen? You've only had a couple practices so far, full practices in the spring, but what have you seen from a competitiveness level as far as guys wanting to win positions for the fall?
That is the one thing, not the one, but one of the main things in our drills and even in our walkthroughs, we try to make everything as competitive as we can, because none of these guys have a spot. They may think they started last year or whatever that may. This is a whole new deal. Yeah, I may have been here last year, but this wasn't my whole deal here, So they have to go out and earn it, and that's the beauty of it, is none of them have a spot, so they don't get to just show up and say, hey, this is mine, I'm good. We got a whole bunch of young guys that want to play, that football is their life, that they dream of this. They eat, sleep, breathe it, and those older guys who maybe not in that level yet, because they've been here for a little while, and it's kind of the same old thing to them. Well, they don't get to have the same old thing because those guys are sitting there nipping at the butt to come in there and take their jobs. And that competition breeds excellence. I mean, everything we do is competition. When you compete against each other, both sides are getting better. And they've, from top to bottom, from freshmen to seniors, they've competed their butts off so far. Up to this point, knowing that we've only had 3 practices and only 1 in pads, and today's the second day in pads, they've competed their butts off to this point, and it's only going to get better, and I can't imagine anything changing.
Coach Wright, thanks for joining us. We look forward to the rest of the spring coming up, spring game here at Jane Stadium on April 11th. Check MSUEagles.com, Twitter and Facebook, and follow Coach Wright on Twitter as well.
Definitely. Thanks for having me, man.